All right, welcome to our webinar today for the Clothier 4-step process. If you're watching, if you've tuned in to the webinar, I'm assuming you're interested, you're either have started your own clothing line or you're interested in starting a clothing line. And so we've developed a process that is 4 steps that you can walk through when you're not really sure where to start. A lot of times when you want to start a clothing line, in our experience, people kind of start in the wrong order, end up making a lot of mistakes, end up spending a lot of money that was unnecessary. So working the process through these 4 steps is really going to save you time and money, and a lot of strife and stress. So just a little bit about me. My name is Mindy Martell. I am the president of Clothier Design Source. Do people hear me? I'm getting a message that someone doesn't hear me. I guess let me know if I'm not coming through for other people. So anyway, I'm the president of Clothier Design Source, and I've started this company 12 years ago. We have a factory here in the USA. We're located in Minnesota, and we develop product and cut and sew product for hundreds of different brands. We've helped launch over 1,000 brands, and we've made over 500,000 products for those brands. So that's what we do. We've learned from a lot of trial and error the best process, how to go through the process of starting your clothing line. So again, that's what I'm going to share with you today. So I will get started. So here are the 4 steps. We've got, so this is what I'm going to talk about more in depth today. We have step 1, design, which is really just finalizing the details of your product. Step 2, then you go into prototyping, and sample making and actually making the product and testing it. Step 3 is tech design, and that's where we finalize all of the nitty-gritty details, construction details, and step 4 then is manufacture. So again, these are the steps I'm going to walk through a little more in depth today. Usually takes about 30 minutes, anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes. And feel free to chime in with questions. It's nice if most of the questions are saved till the end, but we do have around 30 participants today probably, so I think I should be able to answer questions as they come in. Just a quick plug, we do have a YouTube channel. We also have Instagram. We're very active on Instagram, and YouTube. Our YouTube channel has over 100 videos of various, sometimes it's just me talking, sometimes it's me in interviews and things like that, but really we're dedicated to helping apparel entrepreneurs. So I would check that out, subscribe. We're uploading a new video at least once a month usually. Okay, now we get into the steps. So step 1, like I was mentioning earlier, step 1 is design. So when you're thinking about starting a clothing line and you don't know where to start, it's very important to complete design first before you do anything else. So what this means is we want to plan out what your product looks like. We want to plan out what it's made out of, as far as fabric and trims. And again, we want to plan out what it looks like. And generally how it's going to fit. And that's done with the tech sketching. So One reason you want to really take the time during step one design and planning it out is it is less expensive to draw product. It takes less time and it's less money to draw reiterations of a product. And it becomes more time and money if you're making a lot of changes when you get to prototyping. So we like to spend a lot of, fair amount of time and consultation and meetings during the design phase. Like we want to put a lot of thought into it. What we're sketching, you can see some of these sketches down here. These are called tech flats. So what we're sketching has, how many panels is going to be in the product? How's it going to be stitched? For instance, this pant right here, it's got a round draw cord with like egglet ends. So we're sketching out all of the nitty-gritty details, and we're walking through that with you and making sure you understand. We're giving you options of different designs and things like that. So you just want to spend a good amount of time planning what the product is going to look like. Again, because it is less time and less expensive than when you actually start making and cutting and sewing samples. So how we work is we create design boards. This is kind of a funny looking product. It is if there's any cyclists out there, you can see this is a cycling bib. It has like a pad built into the rise area for cycling. So when we sketch out a product for a client, it looks something like this. And we have a lot of call outs, we have a lot of details. Over here, we've talked about the type of stitching, we talk about fabric, we talk about trims, and various options. And so when we're working with the client, we'll sketch out something like this, and then we'll give them 2 or 3 more options for that one product. And we can walk through it with you and make sure you understand all the different options. And we try to narrow it down to, that one cycling bib type that you're looking for. And of course, we do that for every product. So if you have a clothing line that's 5 styles, we would present you 15 to 20 drawings to narrow it down to the 5 styles. So even if you're not working with us, however you're going through that design process, it is good to over design. Like I said, if you want to end up with 5 products, you probably want to be sketching or designing 5 to 20 products and then start to narrow it down from there. And so we walk through that process with you. And again, we're planning every little detail out. It saves a lot of time and money. So we're talking about how the armholes are going to be finished, how the neck is going to be finished. We're talking about the types of fabrics that are placed everywhere on the product. We're talking about what kind of stitching is, in each position. So it's really planning that product is going to save a lot. Okay, so the other part of the plan or the design is you want to be selecting fabric. So before you can go into prototyping, you want to make sure you know what fabric you're making it out of. So when we work with our clients, how it works is once we've narrowed it down to the final sketch for your styles, then we're going to present you a package of different fabrics that would be applicable for your styles. So, just to go back to that cycling bib, there's a solid fabric here and a mesh fabric on the back panel. So then we would present you a package of several options of the solid fabric and several options of the mesh fabric. And we'd walk through with you what different prices each fabric is, what the technical features are, such as wicking or breathability or antimicrobial or whatever is important for your brand. We're going to show you options out there. Again, whether you work with us or not, you want to, at this point in step one, know what your product's going to look like and know what it's going to be made out of as far as fabric. And then you also want to be thinking about your trims and labels during step one. Again, you want to be having that plan or that design complete. So, we're going to talk about what kind of labels. We're going to design you different options. There's the tagless label, the heat transfer label, there's sew-in labels. Really, the sky is the limit, but it does affect your brand and it affects how the product might be sewn, because we want to make sure we're accommodating for what kind of labels are going in there. So we're starting that pretty early on in the process. And then again, trims. So if you have a button, a zipper, a snap, things like that, we're also planning what we think that's going to look like. When we get into the prototyping process, sometimes things do change, but it saves a lot of time and money if the plan is as solid as you can make it, and then you do have room for changes once you get into prototyping. We want to be thinking through everything before we start prototyping. Okay, so that's step one. Just to reiterate, you've got your sketch, you know what fabrics it's going to be made out of, and you know what trims it's going to be made out of. And then step one, design, is complete. And then you move on to the fun part, which is the prototyping, and that's when you start seeing actual samples. So the first part of prototyping is a pattern needs to be created. And when we talk about pattern, we're talking about the shapes of the garment that gets cut out, and then you sew together. So, if it's a t-shirt, the shape of the front, the shape of the sleeve, the back, and then that's called the pattern. It's pattern engineers make that file. We do everything digital here, so it's a digital file. Some people still make patterns by hand, and that's fine. But that's the first part of the step, is making that pattern file. It is important to use an experienced pattern maker. This is another mistake we've seen many people make. Use an experienced pattern maker. We, of course, have pattern makers here on staff that can help. Again, if you're not working with us, just make sure you use an experienced production pattern maker. Otherwise, you're going to end up doing it twice. So unfortunately, we have some people come to us with a pattern that maybe somebody fresh out of school made, or maybe a tailor made the pattern, who's not used to making production patterns. So just make sure you find an experienced production pattern maker. Otherwise, you're going to end up paying to do it twice, and that's no fun. So that's one piece of advice I would definitely share for step two. And then, of course, the cutting and the sewing. So that's what's happening in step two. So once the pattern is made, we're cutting, and then we're sewing. And the big difference between us making a sample and maybe going to a local tailor or seamstress is we are patterning, cutting and sewing with production in mind. And so the methods that we pattern, cut, and sew are very different than how a tailor might do things. A tailor is just concerned with making one. It doesn't matter if they're going to repeat the quality, or repeat the fit, or repeat the type of product. So we're very concerned with making sure it's production friendly and making sure the quality can be repeatable. One thing to note during step two prototyping process is it is going to take 2 to 3 reiterations before something is final. So just expect that right off the bat. Your first sample is very rarely perfect. That is just industry standard. That's just how it goes. It's definitely going to need to be fit. There might be some fitting tweaks. There might be some construction tweaks. The fabric that we've selected maybe ends up feeling too heavy or too light. That's pretty rare, but just expect 2 to 3 reiterations of one product before it's absolutely final. And then once we get a final prototype where everything looks good, we're doing all of that in one size. So let's say you want to make everything in size medium for fitting purposes. So we would be making a medium. We make the first one. We would meet with you, maybe have tweaks. We also do this virtually too. A lot of our clients are not located in our area, so we can work with you virtually. So anyway, we would go over the tweaks, make the changes, make prototype 2, and let's say prototype 2 ends up being perfect, then you have to go into creating all the different sizes that you're going to offer. And you know, every brand fits differently. If you've ever noticed when you're shopping, maybe a size medium at Nordstrom's is going to fit different than a size medium at Target, or versus Nike versus Under Armour or whatever. But you want to think about who your demographic is and how you'd want your products to fit. And then we can really guide you through that process, but it is an important process, because if your clothes don't fit correctly in every size, your brand is going to fail. So again, another reason to use a professional pattern maker with many years of experience, because grading is complicated, and grading is the act of creating the different sizes. So to finish prototyping, we just want to make sure it's graded in every size, and then we make one in every size for the final proofing of the product. So when that is done, before I get to that slide, so that's step 1 and step 2 is completed. So you've went through the planning process or the design process. You have the sketch, fabric, trims are planned out. Then we start making the sample. We repeat making the sample until it's perfect, and then we make all the sizes. And so that is step 2, prototype complete. Just a quick plug in the middle here. I offer 2 options for a Clothier Academy event. We hold these about 3 to 4 times a year. This is going to be the last 2 for this year, 2018. It is for somebody for apparel entrepreneur who is either just beginning in the apparel industry or thinking about getting into the apparel industry. But I teach 4 to 6 classes at these 2 different events. I can start talking about the in-factory event November 10th. I teach 6 classes, very in-depth on what you're getting into when you're starting a clothing line, and how to avoid really big mistakes, how to save money, how to save time, and the process that you want to walk through. A lot like I'm talking about today, but even more in-depth, even more concrete how-to steps. Along with that, you get a tour of our factory. We provide lunch. There's networking time. And then you also get a 30-minute free consultation built into that. So that's November 10th. You can find out more about that on our website, Clothier Design Source. And then we also have a condensed version of that event coming up. It's a live stream event where we condense some of that content down into 4 classes, and you don't need to fly to our factory. You can just attend online. And we do a live factory tour, but just online. And so those are a couple different options you could check out if you're looking for more education and you're getting really serious about getting started. I would highly recommend it. It's going to save you a lot of time and money. All right, step 3 is what we move on to next. So now at this point, we've got our prototypes in every size. They're completed. So then step 3 is creating a tech packet. It's doing tech design. So in the industry, just so you know, there's a lot of words for what this means. You might hear the words spec sheets, technical design package, specification package, tech pack. There's a lot of different words out there, vocabulary for what it is. We call it tech design. So anyway, when the product is finished, then to keep the quality controlled in manufacturing, we create what's basically a blueprint of how the manufacturer is going to put together that product. We manufacture here in our facility, so it is for, if you work with us, when we do the tech pack, it is for our facility to make sure we're controlling quality, we're doing everything exactly the same. We talk about tolerances and things like that. We do develop product that sometimes people take and get manufactured overseas or elsewhere. So this is also a document for a factory if it is not in our facility to keep your quality under control. But it is very important because the pattern and the prototype does not have all of the information when you look at it. You need the tech pack to give you the further information on how it should be constructed, sizing parameters, and things like that. So that's what the tech pack is. It includes measurements for several points of measures in all sizes, and includes acceptable tolerances to keep quality controlled. So down here, this is a funky picture of a sports bra that's kind of splayed out, but you can see all these different points, and these are indicating this number 1 down here is indicating how long the base of the bra is, and then there would be a corresponding measurement for every size for that manufacturer to meet with some sort of tolerance. And if they were out of that tolerance, then you have some recourse with that factory in case something happens in manufacturing, God forbid. But it does happen sometimes. But the more information you give your factory, the more clear-cut information in your tech design, the better product you're going to get, better quality. And then in tech design, we talk about construction methods and directions. I think this is one of the biggest secrets in controlling quality is when you specify your stitching. And there's something called the International Standards Organization stitch chart. This is the one thing in the whole industry that is standardized. And so when we're talking about how we're going to put a garment together, we're using the stitch number that maybe it's the side seams. We're going to use a stitch 301, and we're specifying how many stitches per inch and things like that. So it is, if this part gets ignored, then what can happen is you have a factory who's trying to cut corners, and they might be using a stitch that's cheaper, uses less thread, and is quicker. So this is a big part of how to control quality. Again, and having somebody from the industry who can help you with this tech pack is great. Because again, factories are trying to make money, of course, as they should. I mean, we own a factory, we of course have to make some money, but we're also very concerned with making the best quality. And this is one of the secrets to it. A lot of times I say the big difference between maybe a Walmart garment and a Nordstrom's garment is the stitching. A Walmart garment is done with stitching that is very quick, can be made as quickly as possible. And so, they're going to fall apart in the wash much quicker, and then maybe a Nordstrom's garment that is made to last and last for hundreds or maybe forever for washings. So that's it for step 3, the tech design. And then step 4 is the manufacturing. So that is when your product is ready to be bulk manufactured. We have a factory here where we make product for our clients. And we have 100-piece minimum per style, which is fairly low, or it's very low for the industry. And we'll make up to 10,000 units per style. But this is, when you reach this step, this is it. This is when your product's going to be launched into the world. So again, we have a 100-piece minimum here. Every factory has different minimums. Asking them what their minimums are is a very good idea. Yeah, and this is the last step, and so you just walk through those 4 steps in order. You've got design, again, prototyping, tech design, and then manufacture, and then you've got your clothing line. And those are the steps you're going to want to walk through. So does anyone have any questions or comments? Just use the chat feature if you do. And then just again to plug our academy, if you are thinking about starting a clothing line or you are kind of in the middle of it and you're overwhelmed, there's these 2 options for the academy. Anyone who's attended the academy has given it rave reviews. We've probably put around 75 people through the academy at this point, and many of them are launching their clothing lines as we speak. So even if you don't end up using us for your development and manufacturing, I still think the academy is a great option for learning the process and learning how to get through it right. So someone's asking, 100-piece minimum is per piece or total if there are a few different designs in the line? So it's a good question. If the 100-piece minimum is per style, you could mix sizes and colors within that 100-piece, but it would be per style. So let's say you had a cropped t-shirt, for instance. We have a requirement to make 100 pieces of that cropped t-shirt, but you could make 4 different colors and 5 different sizes. So then you end up really with just a few pieces per color per size of your t-shirt, if that makes sense. I've got somebody else here. I always like to check in case there are changes. Is your 100-piece minimum, okay, per design or per color? It is per design. So good question. And Crystal, I see you raised your hand. I don't really know how to call on you. I'm trying to figure it out. But go ahead and use the chat feature. If you're able to. So Renee's asking how to determine price. How do we determine pricing? That's a good question. So we determine pricing based on how much labor or goes into making the style. So the complexity of the style. So for instance, again, a t-shirt example would be a front, back, 2 sleeves, and a collar. That's pretty simple. It's just 5 different panels that get joined together. Let's say maybe you were doing a fully lined dress or a outerwear jacket. Those can be up to 100 panels of fabric that get cut out and sewn together, and tons of pockets and features and things like that. So that's going to cost more money. So all of our pricing is based off of the complexity of the style. And then Jessica's asking, do you offer help with design or training on how to design? Yes, we offer help to design. We have a design department here. We have, just more about our company. We have 40 employees, and about half of those employees work with our clients on the first 3 steps. So design, prototyping, and tech design. So yes, if we worked with you on design, how it would work is we would sketch several options for you. We would have meetings with you about those options. Again, we can do those virtually. And then we sketch again if there's any changes, and we get it narrowed down to the final sketch. And then can you provide your own material? Yes, you can. Absolutely. If you have any trouble with that process, we have a sourcing department that can help you. But all of our services are a la carte, so kind of, whatever you want, we can do. And if you're going to do part of it on your own, that's okay. Do we do compression wear, such as socks? We do a ton of compression wear, actually, but not so much socks. So we're a cut and sew facility, so that means anything we make has to be cut and sewn. It depends on the type of sock. A lot of socks are knitted in a tube. So there's these big knitting machines that knit a tube that is a sock. So they knit kind of one sock at a time. And so we aren't a knitting facility, we're a cut and sew facility. So we do compression wear. If your socks have a seam on them, we can do them. Otherwise, we do a lot of compression wear garments as well, but not a fully knitted sock. I hope that makes sense. How do we arrange the first consultation call with you? Reach out to info@clothierDesignSource.com. Just say you're interested in a consultation. We offer, I should mention this, we offer free 15-minute consultations to anyone, to everyone. So if you'd like to do that, like to schedule that, again, it's just reach out to info@clothierDesignSource.com. There's a lot of places to contact us and say you're ready for the free consultation on our website as well. Or you can call our phone number and get something scheduled if you prefer the phone. Quickly, that number is 651-225-0825. 651-225-0825. Do you have the ability to use my own textile designs in your fabric? Yes, absolutely. We have printing in our facility here. So we do a lot of custom printing on all sorts of fabrics. So absolutely, if you have a textile design print that you would like on fabric, we can do that for sure. So somebody's asking, can I ask why denim isn't your favorite to work with, and that if that means you won't manufacture with it? Here's the deal with denim. I love denim, but denim factories have extremely specialized equipment that can only sew denim and nothing else. So we do work with denim. We have no problem with denim, but if you want a traditional 5-pocket jean, we do not have the correct equipment to do that. It would be a whole different factory setup. So that might be why you've heard somewhere that denim is not our favorite. So if you're looking for the traditional kind of denim 5-pocket jean, we could help you with the design portion of it. We could even help with the patterns, but then you would have to use a denim factory for the production. And they're going to be much more willing to work with you, by the way, if you come to them with a good tech design and a good pattern. Because it is hard as a new apparel entrepreneur, as some of you might be finding, to get people to take you seriously or to get people to actually work with you. So the more you have done on the development end, so like when you come to them with a development package, like here's my design, here's my patterns, here's my prototypes, that factory is going to be so much more willing to work with you because they know that you have your stuff together. Somebody's asking, can you do laser cutting on fabric? Yes, we have an automatic digital cutting here. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for, but yes, the answer is yes, we can do that for different designs. Definitely. So great questions. Looks like there's a few more. Oh no, that's probably the same one. Great. Well, thank you again all for attending. Let me know if you have any more questions. And then, of course, I highly recommend the Academy event coming up in September and November. Even if you're getting started now, it's not too late to attend that event because the whole process, you will find it's going to take you anywhere from 6 to 12 months from the time you get started. So, we really want to help people not make big mistakes and lose money.